Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing good. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I was just looking at the chat. We have people from almost all the locations. So let's get started. So today I will be talking about UiPath AI Center, and as the email or the meetup title says, how do we automate emails with AI? Before I directly jump into email AI and what we are offering, let's just take a step back, understand what AI Center is. And I know almost every one of you might be aware of it, but even for one or two new people who are joining us, we want to make sure they are included. So AI Center, uh, AI Center is a place that can host any machine learning model. You can either choose one of the UiPath pre-built models, uh, or you can choose another offering, which is bring your own data offerings. You can use one of the UiPath models, train it with your own data, and then deploy it. Or you can pick a model from one of our partners, open source packages, or create your own model and deploy. You can use this model easily in your workflows to make predictions. We started UiPath with the offering, as I said, bring your own models. We allow you to easily build machine learning models. Our data scientists can build their models. And then we started building our UiPath started building its own models. We built 25 out of the box models. Document understanding model series is one of the most popular. Today we'll be talking about the second cohort, which is email understanding or language analysis model series. And after building these 25 out of the box models, we actually saw a lot of value by bundling these models in sensible ways so that we can create solutions. So that is what we'll be talking about today. Email AI is a solution template. When I say solution template, it just bundles pieces of UiPath platform together so that you can solve a email problem using UiPath technologies. Obviously, for all our model capabilities, bring your own models or the 25 out of the box models that we offer and the things that we bundle together, they are all deployed on AI Center. And AI Center provides us with deployment management, capability evaluation, and Action Center provides us with human in the loop and continuous retraining. So when we are talking about AI solution templates, what is exactly an AI solution template? Many of us think it's just another buzzword, but it's very literal to its meaning. It's a solution template. We want you to create a solution, and this is a starter template. Uh, you can extend it, customize it, fit it to your use. We just write a lot of boilerplate code that we have seen everyone write it again and again in their workflows when they want to embed AI. And we said, oh, since everyone is doing it, let's just take it on us. Let's write it once and distribute it so that everyone can use it. So in AI solution templates, we have pre-built models. We are giving you some sample data set to try those models out. We are giving you some sample workflow. These are pre-built workflows that have machine learning models embedded in it. They have these continuous retraining loop configured. They have action center configured. They have complex validation stations and complex UI built in action center so that you can take the data and send it back to the machine learning model. Some comparison logics. We also have included some standard queries for analytics dashboards and human in the loop capability, which I said, the action center workflow. So we have just taken a lot of these things and tried to create a template out of it. And it's exactly as I said, It's for you to extend it, customize it, fit it to the business need. And I hope to hear a lot more stories on how you extend it in creative ways. For email AI solution template, we provide you with custom NER model, two text classification models, semantic similarity, sentiment analysis model. And for each one of them, I will explain in the next slide what they do and when to use them. We also give you some sample data sets. Some of these models are pre-trained and some of these models require some training. For the models that require some training, we give you with sample data sets, so it's easy for you to set it up on your own. We also give you with some sample workflow, and we will just download the sample workflow from the website today. We have standard analytics. This piece is somewhat a work in progress even for us. We have some standard analytics and standard queries to share with you, but this is definitely, this is something that we are improving a lot, and you will see as I cover this section. And we have human in the loop configured. So let's get started with the machine learning model. For machine learning's model section, as I said, email AI bundles almost 5 models together. Intent detection is a trainable machine learning model, and we need 100 samples per intent. For the workflow that we'll be going through today, we will be using this intent detection model to classify emails between clone issues, transaction issues, and misinformation or clarification issues. We'll assume that we are bank, and this is what we will do. For named entity recognition, just think of it as filling out a form. If you want to do data entry, you need named entity recognition model. And we have a pre-trained version of it that recognizes 11 entities. I believe it's 11 or 15. If I'm wrong, check it on the website. It has the right information. So pre-trained model recognizes a few entities out of the box, and a trainable model, you can define the fields that are there in your form and highlight them. And then we need 100 samples per entity to get started. Obviously, these are bare minimum to get decent performance and to do a POC. If you want to run at production scale, more number of samples and more diverse samples, the better the model is trained. For sentiment analysis, sentiment can be a tricky thing. We always recommend to use trainable text classification model and doing the labeling by yourself for the sentiment, mainly because sentiment is something which is very subjective. In an insurance industry, people always talk about accidents. So when an email says accident in the email, it does not mean really a negative sentiment. So you want to be very careful with the sentiment analysis model. We have a pre-trained model that's trained on social media data, but in case of emails, you definitely want to use the trainable text classification model and go from there. Semantic similarity model. This model we use for a special purpose in email AI. There can be questions that can be there in these emails, and we want to extract questions from these emails, and then we have a knowledge bank of question and answers. So let's say column A is question and column B is the corresponding answer. And we want to map the questions in the emails to one of these questions in the knowledge bank. And to do that, we are using semantic similarity model. Sometimes in emails, the people in logistics emails specifically, people actually just embed tables from different from their ERP or CRM systems. Like for example, I want to ship the following containers today, and they will just put a snapshot of the table from the system. And what you want to do is you want to read them. So we have table extraction using document understanding, use our semi-structured document understanding model, and convert the email to those PDFs. And again, I'm sure everyone over here is familiar with DU, and that's how we solve that. So now that we understand what are the different models in use, we want to actually collect them and put them to a meaningful use. Before we collect these models and put them to some good use, let's understand the problem first, for which we are developing this solution template. The challenge is these enterprises, and especially with pandemic and everything, they receive lots and lots of emails. People are tired waiting on the phone calls. Chatbots are not responsive. People have just started pursuing the route of emails. Large banks, many hospitals, they have now many people dedicated just to answering these emails. In sometimes in trading firms and logistics firms, these order management systems, they are still happening over emails. So the manual process or the manual number of hours that it takes to process these emails is huge. It slows down logistics. If you're taking orders over emails and reading it and then processing it, it's definitely bad. And it slows down logistics, it slows down the customer experience. And there was some survey some time ago that customers expect response in a few minutes or a few hours, and the average response time of emails today is 12 hours. And if you all have tried reaching out customer service, I'm sure you all can, like we as consumers, we know that we don't get reply in 12 hours. Come on. So this is definitely a problem, and whichever enterprise is facing this problem, we want to be able to help them, and hopefully email AI can solve their problem. So now that we understand the problem, let's try to see what solution or what solution template we can create for this. The first thing that email AI does is to detect the intent. Hey, what is this email about? If the person is trying to buy something, is the person is trying to place an order, or is he just trying to get a quote from me? So you want to be able to detect the intent and route the emails to different departments. If a person has already placed the order, you want to route it to the execution team to pick it up and execute it. If someone is just trying to ask for quotes, you want to route it to the sales team. If it is a customer service or post sales, you want to route it to that team. So first thing in email processing is you want to detect the intent. The second thing, once you have detected the intent, whether it is pre-sales or post-processing, most of these companies, they have these things where they want to, however they want to respond to the email, the information is stored in some CRM, ERP system. So you want to extract the information from this email, and most things that these customer reps will do is they will take the information from the email, put it in a form, and the form will output a response and then reply to the email. This could be like creating a quote. Oh, I need 25 boxes of freshly brewed coffee. Actually, coffees cannot be in boxes, but I need 25 boxes of coffee seeds, and I need it now, and I need it at this address. So you want to extract address, you want to extract coffee, how many boxes, 25, they will fill it in a form. The form throws out an answer, and then you want to respond it to the email. So generally, extraction is used, think of extraction as data entry. After detecting the intent, most of the customer reps try to do data entry in some system and process the email. So that is the second piece of email AI. The third piece of email AI is discover. Okay, you can detect the intent, we can extract the entities, fill out a form, but sometimes humans have to be involved. And when humans have to be involved, let's try to bubble the important emails first. So for a loan officer, they care about big loan amounts first. If I'm a loan officer, I want to deal with $20 million loan before I deal with tens of $20 loans. And that's fair. I want to deal with a bigger loan amount first. So you want to prioritize the emails based on some business needs or based on some value in the email. So you can use entity extraction to understand that value and then reorder the email. Google, Gmail, Outlook, they order the email based on dates, but that's not the right order where the person who is processing the email, they want to go through it. So after detecting, extracting entities, we have to, sometimes there are times where we have to get humans involved and we want to discover the urgency and prioritize it correctly. Finally, when we are running this email AI solution automation, let's assume you have implemented this template, understood the business needs. As head of automation, you want to be actually able to see what's happening with my solution. What are the different intents that I'm getting? If I'm extracting entities, what is the extraction percentage? If I'm answering questions in the emails, then which questions are being asked the most often? You just want to get some insights from your inbox. And that's the show piece of it, where you want to visualize the data of your emails in Insights dashboards. Before we go ahead and get our hands dirty, download things from our website and see and try it out by ourselves, this is Menti quiz time, and I will ask Christina to go ahead, and I'll stop sharing my screen for a while now. Christina?
Yes, I'm here. Just a minute for me to open Menti and put it in presentation mode. And okay, I see you guys are already joining. Okay. So we'll wait for more of you to join because we have 120 attendees in the session. So let's say at least 70. But not that much. So just try to hurry in joining. Okay. So we have
Yeah,
a lot of little animals and burgers here.
The code is 65381578.
I also shared it in the chat now, so you can take it, copy paste from the. Yes, Nikhil, I hope it's okay. Yeah, the code is on the screen, but it's easier to copy paste from chat if you're entering from mobile, which is actually better. So you can enter easier if you go from mobile in Menti doing these things. Use your cell phones and go mobile. Okay, we give it 10 more seconds. Or until we see that people stop joining. This is like a microwave popcorn, waiting for the attendees to join Menti. Okay. So it looks like 60 is the balanced number. 61, 60, still joining. Okay, at 70, I'm going to start the quiz. And it looks like it also stopped at 71. Okay, come on, let's wait a bit more. Okay, we'll start now. So pay attention, because for Menti, it's not only important to give the right answer, but also to answer fast. I'm going to try to also read the questions on the screen, except for the times when they're really long, and then I'm not going to read it because it will actually confuse you. So we'll start now. Okay, so answer fast to get more points. Okay. What does email AI does not do? Okay. Prioritize emails by business needs, detects intent and routes them to correct department, data entry in a system, process and opens random URLs in emails. Looks like we have a bit of a dilemma here between C and D, the third and the fourth answer. Let's see the leaderboard, and then we'll see how the ranking is now after this first question. Okay, so it looks like test one is the fastest. We'll skip to the next question now, because we have a second question in this session. Okay. What does semantic similarity model do in email AI? I'm not reading the answers here because it's too long. Okay, great answers, I think. Vishal, do you want to comment a bit before I switch to leaderboard on the answers here?
Looks good.
Looks good. Okay, let's see the leaderboard. So we have a complete switch of situation with TZ in the lead point now and BH right after. I'm going to switch back to Vishal now, and we'll come back to the Menti session right before Q&A at the end of this session. Thank you.
Don't worry, I will increase the difficulty of questions for next time.
I think it's good if it's like a real battle between two questions. It means the content is good.
Okay, so email AI, how do we get started? Okay, we spoke a lot. What is email AI? Why do we want to solve the problem? But now we want to get our hands dirty. So let's check out the email AI doc. And we were targeting GA of 115. And I haven't updated the slides. We will be having GA sometime in the first quarter, but there is no date as of now. I will make sure the slide is updated. And let me actually do that. And share my entire screen. Give me a second. So over here, we all go to this URL to get started with email AI. This URL is available on docs.uipath.com, email AI automation. We summarize everything that we discussed. We detect intent, we discover urgency, we extract entities for data entry, and we show the impact of AI. This is the zip file that you can download from here. And as we download the zip file gets downloaded. And I have already extracted the zip file and kept. What we see over here is few folders. One folder is for classification data. This is like a sample data set for email classification. Another folder is for NER. This is like a sample data set for training a custom NER model. And FAQ data. FAQ data is basically a data set with question and answers, and questions in the emails will be compared to one of these questions, and then based on the question which is the closest match, the workflow will extract the corresponding answer and send it back to the customer. So we discussed the sample data set, which is classification emails, FAQ data, and NER data. We also have some demo emails. These are the demo emails that we will be running through for the purpose of our demo. And these demo emails are particularly configured in a very particular way so that I can show you the breadth of the system. It's not because it did bad or it did good in that situation. We also have this config file, and I will be going through this config file. But before I go through that, this is the sample workflow, SMA Smart Mail Automation template. There are some refactors to this workflow plan, but this works, it's functional, and people can start using it. For the NER validation station, this is yet another workflow. You can run this workflow in attended or unattended mode using Action Center and use it for NER tagging. An NER validation folder is basically a folder where we collect low confidence data points. Before we look at the workflow itself, let's look at this config file, because this config file can be a lot. So in this config file, we have some things that we want to fill it out. So process name, email AI, orchestrator folder path. This is the same folder path that you see when you run over here. When you run your studio, you will see a folder over here, a folder name. You all can see it says Smart Email POC. So that's the folder name that I am using, but you want to make it a folder called Smart Email POC, or actually switch it to your folder name. For the purpose of the demo, do you want the workflow to read the emails from the demo folder? Over here, there is a bunch of demo emails. The workflow can read the emails from this demo folder, or it can read from your Outlook. And in this case, I will go and ask the workflow to read the emails from my Outlook. I hope everyone can see my Outlook screen now. And we'll go further and check out the config file. So in the Outlook folder, under this folder, the workflow will start reading all my unread emails. These are the different classifications, which is like the workflow will try to understand whether it is a transaction issue, loan issue, misinformation, or clarification issue. These are the confidence levels that we have set. If the workflow is confident by 60% that, hey, it is a transaction issue, then that's it. It will process it. But if it is less than 60%, it will create a task for me in Action Center to actually validate the results of the machine learning model. Same with entities. These are the named entities that we will try to extract. We'll try to see if there's a person name, organization name, date, amount, or if there is any urgency keywords. And for urgency keywords, we have said these are the keywords that mean urgent. And so over here, sure, we want to understand named entities, and then the confidence for entity is also set to 0.6. Obviously, you can extend this workflow and have a different confidence for every entity. For semantic similarity, if only we run this model, or we expect that whenever there is a question in the email, the classification or the intent is misinformation or a clarification issue, and we want semantic similarity model confidence to be 60% or more for it to reply to any particular email. Again, some data paths over here. When you are actually using this thing, make sure that you don't have any links. To avoid any links, you can actually select on the small right corner over here. And when there are links over here, there will be another option over here which says remove all hyperlinks, and you can just remove all hyperlinks. So as you're making sure, as you're running this or trying this out, make sure that you don't have any hyperlinks. And there are some generic email responses that I have right now. These are the email responses configured, and obviously you can change these email responses, and for different intents and for different entities, you can draft different email responses and auto respond to emails when the order is processed or when a quotation is sent, and so on and so forth. So let's go to the config ML file. I have discussed some of the key parameters in the constants and the settings file. In the settings file, constants is basically you don't need to worry about these. These are some system things. If orchestrator Q is greater than 0, it will start and things like these. So when we are talking about config ML, these are the 4 machine learning models. I have even made these skills public so that people can try it out. For these 4 machine learning models, I have hosted them and I have added the URL and the API keys over here. I have even gone ahead and added the URLs and the API keys to data folder paths in AI Center. So whenever an email goes to Action Center and the prediction was, let's say, wrong and someone changed one of the values, then we want to collect that data back in AI Center. And this is the URL and the API keys for that. And when the data is collected back in AI Center, that validated data, we want to be able to retrain our machine learning model in AI Center. So these are the URLs for that. And these are again to some two locations on my machine where I want to be able to say, hey, whenever for NER model, there is low, like we want for NER, the labeling is little different, mainly because you want to highlight things. You want the character count, like from character count 25 to 29 is the organization name. And there is no good UI for it other than highlighting it. And we want, so that's why it is little special over here when we are trying to collect feedback, and you will see it as I run through the workflow. So just to summarize, what you will be seeing is follows. We have already scraped a lot of emails, annotated these emails, created some standard data sets for you and given you. These standard data sets, you can use them and train your own machine learning models in AI Center and go from there. And now in the sample workflow, when there are new incoming emails, we will use the machine learning models trained and deployed in AI Center. And whenever there is a exception, basically, we want the machine learning models are not confident enough, or this looks like the amount is greater than $20 million. So it's an urgent email, or it should be handled by human. Automation should not do it. It's just too high value of an email. So you want to process those things and put it in Action Center. And from Action Center, sometimes you want to actually process it. Action Center can act as a data labeling station. If you can collect for intent, for sentiment, for semantic similarity, you can actually use Action Center for data labeling. For NER, we recommend use actions because it's a form. Sometimes the options that you want to fill out in a form may not be even present in an email, and you want to basically add an additional option, and that can, when you add an additional option and add a value that is not present in the email, the NER model can be misled. And so to avoid this, for NER, we do recommend create a regular form in Action Center and then create another Action Center task to actually correctly label NER data points if someone changed that form. And we will see an example of this. And when the data is labeled, you want to actually put it in, you want to retrain the model. When you're retraining the model, you can redeploy it. After Action Center, basically, the robot can continue once the human has validated the input, or human can take over, or if the email does not reach Action Center, it will just go ahead and complete the business process, like entering the data into a CRM system. So let's see the workflow in action. Who's ready for a live demo?
I think everyone is ready.
I did not hear. I did not catch that.
I think everyone is ready, and the questions are already going in the chat. So let's start the demo.
Okay. So we'll run this. And over here we have 1600 emails. Hopefully we will see the workflow started. Uh-oh. Let's see. Okay, it's starting again. And the workflow has started reading these emails. We see the count reducing from 16 now down to 12. And oftentimes the workflow will stop and create tasks for me in Action Center. I will say this workflow is still a work in progress. It's a template that we want to create for you so that you don't have to write a lot of boilerplate code. And over here, we have a task in Action Center for us. Let's assign it to ourselves. And the reason for this task is we identify this as a loan issue, and the workflow was only 54% confident. Okay, let's see. They're talking about car loan has been denied and they would like their loan application to be reviewed. So it looks like a loan issue. So everything over here is correct and they're just asking you to review. So sentiment also looks correct. We have extracted the loan amount and that's it. Yes, the confidence was low, but all we had to do is just press the submit button. And now we can go ahead and resume our workflow. One thing that this workflow can definitely do is use a queue to store these Action Center items and then use that queue to populate the Action Center so that the workflow can continuously run and continuously process millions of emails without having to wait for human input in Action Center. Right now, as I am processing these emails, if there is a new email that I process and it needs the human input, the entire workflow gets paused right now. So when we use a queue, we can avoid that situation. Okay, it seems the workflow has paused again. And this time, the reason for this thing in Action Center is there are two issues. One, it looks like it's a loan issue and it's not confident enough. And also it says that, hey, it's a loan issue, I know, but I also found a question. And the workflow tells me that the question should be answered whenever it's a misinformation or clarification issue. So let's see what's happening. So they are talking about home improvement project and they're talking about, could you tell me what loan amount and loan terms I can apply for? Yes, it can be a loan issue. It makes sense why the model got confused. But in this case, it's a misinformation or a clarification issue. And it actually found the right question, which is how much I can apply and what loan terms are available. Even if it was the question that was phrased in the email was a little different. And it was identified with a high confidence. Obviously, they did not see any entities or forms to be filled out over here. It all looked good. I'll press submit. Once again, I will resume this workflow. And we can see the emails being processed over here. And it seems there is one more item in Action Center. And in this case, again, it said that, hey, I was supposed to answer questions only when it was misinformation or clarification issue, but it seems that it is a loan issue, but the question still exists. And in this case, yeah, it's straightforward wrong. It's a misinformation or clarification issue. And it identified the right question. And it also extracted the entity. So we can actually associate this email to a particular organization in a CRM system or in an ERP system also. In this case, we'll press submit and we'll go ahead. As I said, these demo emails are configured to show you the breadth of the system and to also show you the failures of the system. For example, in this case, the model, you want to put such redundancies in place so that you don't process the emails incorrectly. So you want to be able to put confidence issues, and then you also want to be able to say, if the amount is huge, then let a human process it. You cannot afford to make mistakes on huge and high value emails. Let's say we can go ahead, resume this and process this last email. And this last email is processed. So many times you saw NER entities. In this case, we did not change any of the entities, but let's say we had to change any entities, then the data would have come over here in NER validation folder in low confidence data, and the entities would be over here. And if we change any entities in Action Center, then also those JSONs will be stored over here in low confidence data. And then we have this workflow for NER validation station, which can be run in attended or unattended mode. I think I have this workflow open. I don't need to open it again. I can run this file. It takes a while to load, and by the time it's loading, I can go ahead and show you AI Center datasets folder, where for some emails, if you remember, we changed it and we said, hey, it's a misinformation or a clarification issue. So that data should come back to AI Center so that we can use that data for retraining. Let's see. This is all 2021 data points. We need 2022. Okay, this one, is it today? No. This looks from yesterday. Okay, 2021, 118, 6:44 and 6:46 a.m. It's 6:48 a.m. on my laptop right now. So yeah, we did get some data points added to AI Center based on our corrections. And I hope the NER validation station opens up. Obviously, to label the data initially, you can use the same NER validation station, which will show up, or you can use Label Studio or any other third-party labeling tool. This is the Label Studio, and you can use it in attended or unattended mode in Action Center. Right now, amount organizations have been extracted over here. And if you want to extract new things, we can say insert row below, and we can say Romania, and let's say add extracted value. Let's say for the purpose of this example, let's say Romania is an organization because I did not create a country. And then we can say, okay, Romania, come on. All I need to do is add extracted value, and that's it. And you can save and close it if we miss some entities, or if we want to add additional entities, or if we want to remove it, we can just remove it. In this case, everything looks good. We can save and close it, and then go to the next, and we can iterate through these low confidence entities. Again, when you save and close it, this data goes back to the custom NER model datasets folder, and over there the model can use that data to retrain itself in the future. We can even see the pipelines I have kept this model running every week. So it is scheduled for this week as well. And every time the model runs, G-score improves a little bit. And this is the UiPath insights. Obviously, as I said, we are still working on many of these queries, and we are trying to make these pie charts as bar charts for you to have some insights into what's going on, insights into our insights plan. And the reason we are trying to do this is because we are trying to put a time dimension. Right now we see total number of emails processed, and we want to be able to see emails processed every week, every day, every hour. So when we put a time dimension, everything becomes a stacked bar graph. So right now we can see the automation distribution, the number of emails that are automated, number of emails that are corrected by human, and the number of emails. Basically, these red plus orange are the total number of emails that reaches Action Center, out of which only the red number of emails are actually humans took some action in Action Center. In orange, humans just press go through. This is the distribution of intents, entities, sentiment, and distribution of frequently asked questions. Obviously, this is useful for me to know as head of automation what's going on, and this is all the insights that I need in my inbox. Obviously, I want it over a time frame, and that is something that we lack. The sample workflow that you have already has all the logs that are emitted for this dashboard to be constructed, but we are and as we add queries for these time-based workflow, we'll also be sharing the dashboard queries with you. So that's pretty much it for the demo. Let's go back to the presentation. Obviously, we have amazing demo video by Jeremy, which shows the integration with Salesforce using APIs. It shows the integration with Action Center and everything flowing in a much more beautiful way. And I will highly recommend for you guys to check it out. So some commonly asked questions. I know we are nearing the question time. Is AI available in cloud and on premise? All the machine learning models for email AI are available on cloud and on premise. How many languages does email AI support? I will say not every email AI solution uses all the machine learning models. It depends on use case. Text classification and custom NER models, they support more than 100 languages. Semantic similarity model supports all Latin languages. How do I get email AI? All the email AI machine learning models are actually GA. So the template, we are still working on it so that it's reusable. But if you're implementing it for a customer, you're experts in writing RPA workflows. You all don't need my template to be GA. You all can just write the workflow, stitch it for the customer, and go from there. What products do I need for email AI? AI Center, Action Center, Studio, Orchestrator, Insights, Unattended Robots. Integration service is a tricky thing. You can obviously use unattended robots to scrape through unread emails, but sometimes you just want to trigger email AI workflow based on whenever the email comes. So you can use integration service trigger to use it. And if you are receiving emails in the volume of, let's say, 200 million emails a year, and I'm not joking, we have had customers that work through these numbers. And for them, unattended robots can be tricky to manage. So cloud robots are the way to go there, especially when you're dealing with high volume. So there are some extensions. Obviously, you can extend email AI by processing documents, by processing attachments, by processing tables in the emails, as we discussed earlier. We also have multi-level intent detection model. This is in preview. So basically, one email can say, hey, I want a quote, and I also want an invoice for my last order. So there are two intents, and this model is available in preview as of today. We also have image classification model. We have seen in many quality assurance areas, people attach images. So you want to classify images. We have that. And obviously, we will try to extend it and add more support. And we are back to quiz time.
In just a minute, I'm just pasting some questions in the separate document. Okay, so.
And I see we have 32 things on the chat. I hope there are not 32 questions.
Don't worry about that. We will ask you when the time comes. So
I will leave sufficient time for questions. Don't worry. Okay.
So quiz time. Guys, the ones of you who left the room, though I'm sure not many, go again to www.menti.com. And this is the access code. I will leave it again in the chat, so you can re-access it if by any chance you left the room or close that mobile window. So we'll wait. I think we have had about 72 in the last session. We will wait now a bit more to see how many will, whether we get back to 70 at least in the quiz room. This was our last leaderboard, so this is the ranking from which we depart on this quiz session. I left you in the chat the link and the access code. So if anyone wants to join the quiz room, I see no new people are coming up, so we can just pick it from here now with the third question. Yes, so everybody get ready and remember, answer fast. I added a few more seconds on the third question because it was a bit longer, so you'll have longer to answer, but still you need to answer fast if you want to make the ranking. Okay. So. How will you extend email AI workflow such that workflow run can continue without waiting for human input in Action Center? You have 10 more seconds to answer now. But also the answers are quite long, so I wanted to make sure you have time to read all the answers. Okay. So it seems like we have a more encouraged majority on this one. That's good. It's not a tie anymore. Let's see the leaderboard after this question. Okay. So again, we have a switch in ranking. It's amazing how these leaderboards change after the times and correctness of the answers. So this is why it's very important to answer fast. Let's move on to the next question now, because after this quiz, we will go fastly into Q&A. Okay, so question 4. How will you label entities for extracting entities in emails? And again, we have 20 seconds to answer on this one. Okay, 5. Okay, an even more clear majority on this one. Good. So get ready. We will now see the final leaderboard and our 2 winners for this session. Everybody get ready. Oh my God. So yes, I will extract the second 2. So it seems like Ciprian is the first one, and the second I think is Aldin, but I will check. So congratulations to both of them. Please give me in a direct message your email addresses so I can email you the vouchers, both of you. And I will announce in chat now after I verify clearly who is the second winner. But Ciprian, congratulations. And now, Vishal, it's back to you, and we will open a Q&A.
Sounds good.
Okay. Would you like to share your screen again for Q&A, or would you like me to share?
Sure, I will share. I was hoping there is no screen in Q&A. I can show.
Yeah. No, let's leave it on the flag. I'll make sure now that everyone has the right to unmute. So let me just check that everyone is able to unmute. Okay. I allowed everyone to unmute. So just please only unmute if you have a question to ask. First, we will start with the questions we picked up from the chat box, and I will start asking Vishal the questions one by one, because it was still your peers who asked the questions in the chat throughout the session, and it's important that all of us hear the answers too. So Vishal, we have a question from Karthik. He's asking whether we can extend this email AI to other email services such as Gmail APIs, because right now the template is dealt with Outlook.
Yes, 100% you can extend it to work with Gmail. In fact, that is something that even we have thought about. But yes, all the contributions are welcome. Share it on the community, share it on the post. We will take into account all the suggestions, everyone that people are doing, and we will add things to email AI template and make it more robust and more robust so that people don't have to write boilerplate code. But yes, get started, share things, extend it, and we will keep on incorporating all the inputs from you guys. Whatever you all have, however you all have extended, we will incorporate it in the standard template and share it more widely.
Okay, thank you for the answer. I hope, Karthik, I hope that was a good answer for you to that question. So if not, please tell us or write in chat if that answer did not suffice. From Gazu, we have quite a lot of questions. Some of them were already answered by Gwen, some not. He's asking, could we do it on premises orchestrated version? Could we add few keywords without default based on extraction?
Yes, could we? The answer is always yes.
Yes.
On-prem, all good. Just make sure your orchestrator version is compatible with the AI Center version. If AI Center is on-prem, if AI Center is on cloud, then make sure that your on-prem orchestrator is not air-gapped, because then orchestrator will have to call out to AI Center to get the model predictions. So just be careful around the edges. Ideally, if you're using automation suite, everything is you will get everything that's compatible. If you're not using automation suite, just make sure if AI Center and orchestrator are both on-prem, they are compatible to each other.
Okay.
And if one's on cloud, then make sure that orchestrator is not air-gapped.
Okay, thank you. Razu, I hope that answered your question. If not, please tell us in the chat and we will further clarify. From Brian also, we have quite a lot of questions. First one, he's asking, is the workflow adding items to Action Center via the user interface? If so, is there an API to enter information into Action Center instead?
Can you repeat that question?
Is the workflow adding items to Action Center via the user interface? And if so, is there an API to enter information into Action Center instead?
I think the workflow is entering the data into Action Center using the Action Center API.
Okay.
It's already using the API and not the UI automation.
Okay, thank you. Let's see what's next. From Christopher. Can this work with internal email communication applications?
As long as you build something that can read unread emails from that system. I'm assuming you're asking not Outlook, not Gmail, maybe your own personal email server. And if I'm understanding your question right, yes, you can use UI automation to read unread emails from your personal server which that don't have an API.
Yeah, I think he's also like probably intranet or something like that. He's asking for internal email and communication.
Yes, the entire thing with UiPath AI Center and Orchestrator can be air gapped, so it can work on intranet. So that's not an issue from a network and from install standpoint. However, from the workflow itself standpoint, you want to make sure that you can communicate with that email client. And if there are APIs, great. If there are no APIs, you can use UI automation to do that. Or if you can find UiPath activity.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I think that clarified for Christopher. If not, Christopher, please tell us in chat whether that answer left anything unclear. And now from TZ, he's saying, hello, can we customize the models we want to use? Example, BERT, GPT-3. What are the capabilities for multi-language text?
Can you repeat that question for me?
Yes. Hello, can we customize the models we want to use? Example, BERT, GPT-3. What are the capabilities for multi-language text?
So can you customize the model? The multilingual text classification model and the custom NER model are based out of BERT. They are variations of BERT that we have found to be working better on many data sets. So the models that we are sharing as out-of-box packages, they're obviously their code is obfuscated, but they are BERT-based. Can you use GPT-3? You can use GPT-3 by calling GPT-3 APIs. Right? You cannot customize UiPath ML packages to use. You cannot take a ML package and say, hey, I want to use the GPT-3 instead of this BERT-based ML package. Yes, you can use GPT-3, but that's just API automation. And from my experience using GPT-3, it's amazing. It works great. It's very expensive.
Thank you. Okay, we have another one from Razu. I think he wanted to say, if on premises, can it be auto retrainable?
Yeah, it can be auto retrainable on premise as well. To send the data back to AI Center, there is a config file that needs to be attached to it, and then yes, it can be auto retrained on premise as well. And if it's on intranet, and if it's then even better, you can use the API to communicate to send the data back to AI Center. Okay. The short answer is yes.
Great. Okay, we have now a question from Aline. He's asking, can email AI models support more languages at the same time, multiple languages? I think this might have also been answered.
Yes.
But you can
there is a demo of there's a demo that we have created internally where people mix multiple languages. For example, you can start writing the email in French and have some English words in it, or you can start writing the email in Spanish and have some English words in it, or vice versa, and it works. The custom NER and multilingual models are very robust to languages. They are both multilingual and work over 100 languages.
Okay. From Brian again, he is asking, for on-premises, does Action Center and AI Center require separate servers, or can they run on the orchestrator server?
They required separate servers from what I know, and you can use Automation Suite to do a easier install. And whenever you're doing on-prem install, and whenever you're doing air-gapped install, and whenever you're dealing with them separately, all the individual products, please be careful of the versions and compatibility. But if you're using automation suite, which is like a easier install experience, you don't have to worry about anything. It's a single install.
Okay, thank you. I hope, Brian, that answers your question, and also the next questions, which was from Razu, which was similar. So I hope it answers to both of you for on-prem, both of them, Action Center and AI Center. And we'll move to the last question from chat, which is from Humayun. This is a bit more complicated to read. So if the amount is written in words instead of number, for example, like 1 million in letters instead of numbers 1 million, then how will it detect the amount?
All you need to do is, so there are two things. One is detecting the amount, which is the work of named entity recognition model. And it does a great make a custom named entity recognition model, and even pre-trained named entity recognition model has the amount or has the field amount. And basically the way it does is you have to label enough data that are words as well as numbers. And once you have labeled enough data, it will be able to extract, okay, from this piece, from this index in the text to this index in the text is a amount field. And that it can be 1 million in words or it can be the number, it doesn't matter. So that piece is related to extraction. You can extract the amount, uh, that is no problem. But then now you want to normalize it. There is a next step to it where after you have done the entity extraction, custom NER model will tell you, or pre-trained NER model will tell you, hey, this is the amount 1 million in words. You want to be able to normalize it to actually numbers to be able to use it ahead in the workflow. And when you normalize these things, generally there are many normalization activities that are widely available on UIPath community. There are also some standard normalization activities that we provide that convert these things to like we have for date, we have for location and some standard things. And you can normalize them to these numbers and then we can go from there. So there is an extraction piece which is done by NER model, either pre-trained or custom. I always recommend custom NER because it's trained on your own data set. And even with few hundred samples, custom NER starts outperforming pre-trained NER very, very soon. So I hope I answered your question. It works. Okay. All you need to do is normalization activities.
Okay, Humayun, I hope that answer works for you. If not, please tell us in the chat if something was left uncovered by Vishal's answer. And the last question from the chat is by Sebastian. Humayun says thanks, so he's pleased with the answer. And Sebastian is asking which licenses are needed for this and how many of each?
So as of now, like when I say as of now, I literally mean Jan 18, 2022, you need 2 AI robot packs. So basically one AI robot has 2 ML skills. So this email AI solution template, not every email AI solution needs to use 4 machine learning models, but this email AI solution template uses 4 machine learning models. To host 4 machine learning models, you need 2 AI robots. And we can use one AI robot pro to train the models one after another in sequence. So 2 AI robots and 1 AI robot pro for this solution template. Obviously, depending on your solution, the answer will differ. And this is, I'm just talking about AI Center licenses. Add in a few unattended robots, add in insights, add in Action Center licenses for based on number of users, and you have your license package with you.
Okay, thank you for that answer, and I hope Sebastian is pleased with it. We have more questions coming in the chat, but now I will please ask Humayun and Praveen to unmute and start asking live the questions, because we took this was only for the ones who were placed during the session. So Humayun, if you would like to follow up on what you asked in the chat and open and ask the question live.
Yeah, thank you.
Pleasure.
So actually my question is like in a, let's say a bank. So it supports email, it got a lot of emails every day. So let's say the 100 emails came. So the first email will be at the bottom. So how it will prioritize or sorting the email that it comes at the first email. Otherwise it will take a lot of time to get back to that particular customer.
So that's the purpose of robots, right? So when we are trying and we are processing emails with robots, robots can work overnight. Robots can work when humans are sleeping. So the work of robots, we add just more unattended robots if they are getting emails in order of 300 million, 500 million. Have more unattended robots or have cloud robots run it and batch process it. So at that point, you want to just batch process all the emails, and you want to prioritize. When we say talk about prioritization over here, if you get, let's say, a lot of emails over in one day and you want to prioritize among those, you will be prioritizing it based on amount, and you want to say all the emails that have amount or that are talking about amount which is greater than $2 million, just prioritize them higher and put them in a new inbox, or put them in a new folder. So you get a prioritized folder first. You read those answer those emails first, and then you answer the other emails. So that's just for the prioritization piece. Obviously many of the emails you don't need to prioritize because it will be automated. But some of the emails that you want humans to answer, and then you want humans to use their time more efficiently to answer high priority emails first, you want to set a threshold and put them in a new folder. And if the problem is just scale, run robots overnight or use cloud robots to scale it up. And read all emails together using cloud robots.
Okay. Praveen, could you also unmute and ask your question live, please?
Could I read his question? Hi, Praveen. I see a question. Could we install email AI from managed packages in UI Studio or in UiPath Studio? Short answer is no. I have provided a workflow documentation. I've provided a link to download the workflow in the documentation page. It's not GA yet, and I don't want to confuse people in UiPath Studio with email AI automation yet. So it will stay that way for a while until we can figure out a way to make it much more robust and have this template available for everyone to use. Until then, you'll have to go through the documentation page and download it.
Okay, so I think that answers Praveen's question. Any other questions from the public now? And let me know if any of you has problems in unmuting.
Hi, this is Raju from Bangladesh.
Hello, Raju.
Hi, Raju.
Hi. Vishal, I have a question for name entity recognition. Like you have told in earlier, we can customize the model, correct?
It's a custom NER model. You can give your own data. When you say customize the model, there are AI Center offers three things. One is bring your own model approach, where you build your own model from scratch by writing a code for it and you deploy it on AI Center. Second is bring your own data, and custom NER model is a bring your own data model, where you create your own entities, tell this is your own entity, bring your own data to train it, and you train the model.
Yes.
Third model is pre-trained.
I got the point, but there is a thing like a few keywords. Based on the keyword, the model can be extract the data. So without this default keyword, can we add a few keywords Like there is the default keyword like name, location, address, and some other keywords. So without that, could we add a few keywords based on the requirement to extract the data?
Yeah, custom NER model is exactly for that purpose. You can add chemical names, you can add stock values, stock names, you can have names of products, names of parts. Um, you can
Okay.
have types of steels, different types of leather.
Okay, great. Then it can be on the code level, whatever language we have used, or and make the changes and upload to the AI center, that kind of things. Or we can, whatever models we have, we can customize based on the keyword.
So the way to use custom NER model with these different entities is to collect that data first and put that data in either the validation station, use it with validation station, or use it with a labeling tool like Label Studio as of today. And if you use either of these two things, then you can use the validation station workflow to add your new entities. It's a taxonomy.json file. You can just add the new entities that you're talking about in that workflow in that taxonomy file. Or you can use Label Studio and add those new entities and then label the entities or label your data with those new entity names. And once you have labeled your data set, you can export it. For validation station, you will find the exported data in the labeled dataset folder, and you can upload it to AI Center and train the custom NER model. Or for Label Studio, you can export it as Cornell 2003 and upload it to AI Center and train the custom NER model.
Okay.
Then use it in the work.
That's great. But for that, any dummy session you have recorded or UIPath have recorded, that kind of things?
Yes, you will find all this information on the documentation page of custom NER.
Okay. So any video record for that?
Yes, there should be video recordings of it from Ryan Rush. Ryan Rush is a person within UiPath. He conducts these early preview programs, and he has the recordings of custom NER and preview. I think it's.
So I'm requesting you and all guys to, can you share the link for that if possible?
It's available through Insider Preview program. If you join the Insider Preview program, it's available. All the recordings are available for Insider Preview there.
Okay, so the program is pre-scheduled, correct?
It's Insider Preview.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So there are video recordings over there.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Anyone else who wants to ask a question? We have 5 more minutes. If not, we will proceed to.
Sorry for another question.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Vishal, so the thing is, whatever you have answered in earlier for the orchestrator version, which is the on-prem, and the AI center, which is also the on-prem version. So we don't have the internet for kind of clients. For that situation, can we use it for the on-premises, and it can be auto-retrainable?
Yes, it is air gap supported. So when there is no internet, we call that version air gap and air gap support.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we will proceed now then to close the session, and I will show you some screens before that. So this is the link I also shared with you in chat. I will share it again. Tomorrow you will find the recording and the deck uploaded here on the event link. This is the same event link that you registered on. You simply go on it tomorrow. You also receive a follow-up email from us, and you will find the recording and deck uploaded there. Then again, if you wish to see other events from our global chapter, or so line up for these upcoming events, simply join the EMEA and APAC virtual events chapter, and you will receive notifications. We hold generally about 2 a month. I will give you the link now in chat so you can join our global chapter. And most of our deep technology events are held on this chapter, and also the technology series about integrations is also on this chapter. So we'll join the EMEA APAC virtual events chapter. Also, one other link I gave you previously in the chat, and I'm going to share with you again, is this documentation link for the email AI automation. I think it's useful for you to have it. And now, just to close up the session, integrated view of our community ecosystem. Just to remind you all that you can find in the UIPath community and how you can contribute. So you can submit blog ideas. You can, of course, participate in community events. Don't forget to check forum and reply and help peers if you can. And also Academy, of course, if you want to upskill, we have big plans coming on Academy too. Thank you all for joining us today. This is the link for our community ecosystem, and also the link for the UiPath AI integration with AI Center. Thank you all for coming here today. I hope you learned a lot. I hope it was a good session for you. And thank you, Vishal, for presenting this session.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending, and thank you for all the questions.
Okay.
I look forward to seeing all the extensions to UiPath Email AI.
Thank you, Vishal.
Thank you, guys.
Puzzle.
Bye-bye, and see you on our next event on the global chapter.